Hey everyone, Heated Rant here, along with the Autistic Sock Monkey, representing awareness for autism. And my subject today is about religions and what they're kind of about and what believing in them truly means to people. I mean, a religion can take over your whole existence and your whole life and make you something that otherwise you wouldn't be, truly, because religion goes right to the core of the very thing that you are. And that might be hard to understand for some people, but if you have a belief, you would truly understand. And why I bring this up is because of the recent so-called bans on Muslims that everybody's talking about, and they had a big protest down at the JFK airport about it, and and someone's kind of got to talk about the religious aspect of it. It's not that we truly want to ban Muslims from coming into the United States, but we truly don't want the wrong people coming into this country. And inviting people from terrorist countries or countries that have terrorist roots is really not a good idea. Because the thing about religions, I mean Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, whatever, is they all believe the same thing. Christians all believe in the same thing about Christianity. Muslims believe everything there is about being Muslim. Buddhists believe everything about being Buddhist, and so on and so forth in religion. I mean, yeah, certain, like in Christianity, certain chapters or sects or churches, however you want to call them, have their minor differences in some of the things they practice and do. Like Catholics practice one way and Protestants practice the other, even though they're basically the same thing under different laws and circumstances. But the main point is that they all believe in the same thing. The Bible is the Bible. The Quran is the Quran. And just because they live in one place or another, you don't deviate from what you believe. Believers in Jesus also believe in the Old Testament because that's what Jesus believed and conducted his life by. And in the Quran, I don't know much about the Quran itself, but everything I've heard and read about it is not really how I would want to conduct my life, or how I would want my family to live, or how I would want to treat my wife or my child. And to think just because Muslims in America are moderate or don't practice full-blown Muslim traditions and stuff is just because there's a thing about Muslims being the majority in a country. The fewer they are, the more, we'll say, quiet they are about what they believe. But the more and more they mass together as a people, the more vocal their cause becomes. Because the Muslim religion is all about taking over the world and making Islam or Muslim the only religion on the planet. And that is their goal. So with pumping refugees over here from Muslim countries that believe in traditional Muslim traditions, then the more there are, then they start pushing that tradition into the culture. Like us being Americans, we don't believe in Sharia law, and we never would, because it contradicts the freedoms that we hold dear, especially women's rights. To what you see in America with how they treat women is totally different than how they treat women in a full-blown Muslim country. And if they were ever to make America a full-blown Muslim country, then women would be wearing the full dress from head to toe, because that's what the religion is about. They can be moderate in America because they don't have anybody really looking over them as they would in a true Muslim-run country. So they can be sort of lax here in America. But as more and more traditional Muslims come here, it gives them more and more of a voice. And as you see in Europe, they have a big crisis on their hands, because the Muslim culture is now clashing with the culture of like Germany and France, and it's starting to try to take over those cultures. People don't want to see that, and they don't want to know that, but that's the way it is. So as more and more Muslims come to America, their voice will get louder and louder, and they'll start, we have the right to protest, but they'll protest, and then it'll start turning violent, and they'll slowly try to take over our country, which they don't know, that they're ignorant of our country and how big it is and how it's set up. It's set up in such a way that it would take millions and millions of Muslims to take over our country, but they could start taking over states. I mean, look at Michigan. There's like big parts of Michigan that are all Muslim, and the population is growing, and I wouldn't doubt in so many years from now that as the population of Muslims grow, that they wouldn't start staging protests and trying to push their culture and try to push Sharia law, which, as long as, and what they don't know is the true Americans like me, and there's millions of us that don't want to live under Sharia law, don't want to be Muslims, and will fight. It doesn't matter. The only way that I would treat my wife and daughter to Sharia law is if I was dead. And, well, maybe they'll make that happen, but until then, as long as I live and breathe, I will fight in one way or another and talk out against Islam and talk out against Muslims. I have nothing against anybody personally, per se, but I do personally have something against the teachings of the Muslim world. And come down to it, like I said, it's like everything in the Quran is what the Muslims believe and what Islam believes. It's all the same thing. Everything that is written in these books is what they believe. And you, like I say, you can see them acting one way or another, but if a true collective of Islam or a true leader of Islam comes over here, you'll see what they're truly about. And these people that think they're peace, or these gay groups that think that they're going to be kumbaya, they're crazy. Because one of the first things of Islam is, is to kill gay people and to kill people that don't believe in it, and to, you know, treat women like slaves and property, and have your little daughters be married to full-grown men. I mean, there's just so much about it that people don't want to believe because they just see a bunch of people praying 3, 4, 5 times a day. I don't know how many times they pray, but they pray quite a bit. And that's just not something I want to see in America. I mean, I don't look to offend anybody, but it's just, I want my country to be a Christian country. You can believe what you want, but don't push it on me. I don't push my religion on anybody. I just have my freedom of religion. I believe it. I'll talk about it with you if you want to talk about it, but for the most part, yeah, have your belief and shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear it. You know, it's about it. You know, you're free to believe what you want, but I'm free not to hear what the fuck you have to say. So, that's about it. Alright, that's a little bit of my rant. I don't know if I really got my point across, but I gave it my best. You know, sometimes, you know, you can't get your point across, no matter how you put it, but okay, well, some of my other videos will be popping up over there. There's a little subscribe button. If you like what you hear or like my videos, please subscribe. If you want to make a comment, make a comment. I mean, I would love to discuss this with anybody. It doesn't matter to me. You know, I'm open to talking with anybody about anything. And we shall talk to you later. Say goodbye. Goodbye.